Welcome to NACD BoardVision, where leading boardroom advisors, governance professionals, and seasoned directors discuss critical issues related to your responsibilities in the boardroom. Welcome to NACD BoardVision. I'm Peter Gleason, Managing Director and CFO of the National Association of Corporate Directors. Catherine Bromelo is joining me today for another segment in our BoardVision series on technology issues. Catherine's a partner in PwC's Center for Board Governance. Welcome back, Catherine.
Thanks, Peter. It's good to be here with you today.
In this session, Catherine and I will be discussing a topic that's certainly impacting the boardroom: new technologies that directors and companies are embracing. Well, at least trying to get their arms around. We'll also look at several key oversight concerns as we wrap up this session.
That's right, Peter. While email is still pervasive and, of course, has its own challenges in terms of security and permanence, directors and companies have been fast and really even eager to adopt other technology to help them out in the boardroom. And a pretty big area of focus has been moving away from having only hard copy mailing of board materials. What we see is some companies are actually using their intranets to provide a venue to store and allow directors to access board materials. But there are also a few other service providers out there that are developing some very specific tools that help companies handle the distribution of materials for directors. And whether companies are using sort of their internal intranets or some professionally developed external tools, companies are really adopting such tools at a pretty surprising rate. When we look at these, some of these tools allow directors to do such things like access or download their board books onto tablet devices. They also allow them to embed their own notes into board materials, and then those individual directors can choose whether they want to share those notes with other directors or not. And probably thirdly, those kinds of tools really allow directors to easily access the agendas, materials, and minutes from prior meetings without really the need to visit the company's offices. But by all appearances, directors seem to absolutely love this way of using technology to make their lives easier.
I agree. Right now, we're all about increasing directors' efficiency and effectiveness in the boardroom. Their time is their most important currency. Technology solutions that are secure and can afford directors more time to address the critical issues facing the company are a tremendous benefit to both the company and the board. In fact, we're seeing more and more companies supplying iPads to their executive teams and their boards. There are a number of companies offering electronic portals and/or electronic solutions to intra-board communications, and a number of larger companies are creating their own secure intranets for board members. NACD recently entered into an agreement with NASDAQ to enhance their Director's Desk product by integrating some of our content onto their platform to enhance the user experience.
What directors particularly seem to love is the fact that they no longer have to lug around their heavy board books. In fact, I remember speaking with one of the audit committee chairs from a fairly major company who said that he had to make sure that everyone who was on his audit committee worked out regularly because they couldn't be weak if they wanted to be able to carry around just the huge volume of information they had. So directors love the technology, but companies also love the technology because they can actually push out updated or more immediate information right up until the board meeting. And we're told that the lawyers tend to like it because sometimes just the way the technology is, it actually allows the corporate secretary, say, to wipe all of the comments or questions from the material at a certain appropriate time.
Catherine, we don't have any concrete data on this trend yet, but anecdotally, I'd say this is becoming more and more widespread in boardrooms. Do you agree?
Well, Peter, we're asking directors if their boards use this type of technology and what they think about it in our upcoming 2011 annual Corporate Directors Survey. We've asked similar questions in prior years, and we've seen a pretty dramatic change in really just over a few years. In 2006, just over a quarter of directors said that their boards had a secure internet location for directors to access sensitive board documents. But in 2010, almost half of the directors said that they had access to such an internet location. It will be really interesting to see what our 2011 results bring.
It seems that almost everyone has smartphones, laptops, tablets, and every other type of device these days. From both a personal and business standpoints, they make our lives easier and very often more efficient. The technology has gotten so much better over the past few years, and I'm sure that will continue as we go forward. The user interface is so much simpler now, and as technology companies continue to make these products easier to use and more intuitive, I think we're going to see more widespread adoption in the boardroom. Do you agree? And what else do you think is driving the change?
I believe there are probably a few things at work. For one, tablets are small and light, and they really are much more portable than laptops, especially for directors who travel extensively. Second, some of the board service providers were very quick to adapt their tools to the tablets, and so it was a very convenient way to use them. And third, quite frankly, they're just sort of cool, and when directors aren't demonstrating to each other how they're getting their board materials, they're often comparing which apps they've downloaded.
On your point about travel, I hear that corporate secretaries are strong advocates because the tablets and related technology make it easier for them to deliver board materials to directors who have multiple residences or are on the road a lot. Security will always be an issue with any technology solution. With confidential information being transmitted electronically or stored in the cloud, and especially given our recent BoardVision episode on cybersecurity, how can directors feel confident about security?
That's a great question, Peter. I guess if I was a director, I'd want to understand how management is making sure our board information is being secured, particularly given how sensitive and confidential it is. And I would hope that management would be able to report that the service providers had addressed security concerns with things like data encryption and robust security. But I guess as the recent headlines remind us, data is under continual attack, and so the adequacy of those kinds of security measures need to be monitored constantly.
Thanks, Catherine. Helpful information as always. That wraps up another episode of NACD's BoardVision. On behalf of PwC and the National Association of Corporate Directors, I'm Peter Gleason, and thanks for joining us.